So talk to me a little more about your authenticity view of integrity. I'm asking in part because in the organizational world, Roger Mayer and his colleagues have defined integrity as having and enacting worthy principles.
Mm.
So they want to know, at least when they ask, "Are you trustworthy?" The integrity dimension of that is, okay, do we believe that you have decent values, and then also that you're going to enact the values that you espouse. You're going to live by the principles that I guess you're going to practice what you preach effectively. And I think your integrity stance is a little bit different through an authenticity lens.
It is, and this is a good discussion. Um, when I was constructing the self-actualization scale, trying to like test to see which of Maslow's characteristics of self-actualizers actually could hold up psychometrically, my items in authenticity were adapted from the way he thought about authenticity and the way that Eric Fromm, the humanistic psychologist at that time, thought of authenticity, which was simply this: I stay true to my values, specifically under conditions in which they're threatened. So the reason why I like thinking about it that way, and I want to get your thoughts. I really don't want to turn the spotlight back on me in this chat. You're the interviewee, but I'd love to get your thoughts on this and how you think about this. But I feel like things like courage, right? Like why would you just measure courage by saying on a scale of 1 to 5, I have courage? It's like no, you have courage. It's easy to have courage when courage is not really needed, you know. But it's a lot harder to have courage when it's truly requires courage. And I almost see authenticity in a similar sort of way. It's easy to just say, whatever's on your mind when you have enablers when you have like supporters who would burn down the White House for you, so to speak. For example, I don't know where I got that example, but it's easy to kind of say whatever you want when you have devoted sycophants. But it seems to me like authenticity and integrity, the related construct there, is something that comes about when you can really have that strength of muscle to say, no, this is my value, and I'm going to stick to this value even though everyone wants me to not stick to it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
I I think this is a great way to think about values and virtues more generally,
Mm,
because they're all easy to live when they're not being
right.
tested. Right? It's incredibly easy to be kind when you're in a good mood and when things are going your way. Right? It's very easy to be creative when you have access to lots of ideas and a lot of support around you. I think it would be interesting to actually think about studying and measuring values through this lens and say, okay, w- the real test of whether you live by a value as opposed to just claiming it is whether you stick by it when the deck is stacked against you.
Yeah, I really, really like that. I wish the field moved more in that direction because the field I'm talking about positive psychology because I feel like a lot of these constructs are just acontextual, right? They're like you take a questionnaire, like the VIA survey. These are your top character strengths, but it's like they're
Hmm.
acontextual, right? It's like there's something that's not deeply satisfying about that.
Yeah, I want to measure whether you're a giver or a taker by how you treat someone on your worst day
I
as
love that.
opposed to your best.
I love that. Or how do you treat a subordinate? Like for instance, narcissists are huge givers when it comes to people that they know they can get something out of, right? So if you just look at that context, right, they're such a
Yes.
giver. But then how do a lot of these people treat, like we found light triad, dark triad, one of the biggest things differentiating light triad versus dark triad was how you treat do you treat all individuals with dignity and respect, or do you only and the dark triad individuals who scored those who scored high on the dark triad, I should say, because we all have a little bit of it within us, right? Where they were very much like I treat people with dignity and respect who are powerful. I treat people with powerful people with dignity and respect. It's like, does that really make you a great human being overall as a whole person?
Not last time I checked. It reminds me of the Roos Vonk paper on the slime effect, where people were essentially kissing up and kicking down.
Yeah.
They were extremely likable and flattering towards superiors, but then not so kind and respectful towards subordinates. And it almost sounds like it reminds me a little bit of the classic Adorno work on the F scale of authoritarianism,
Mm.
where if you acted submissive with superiors and dominant with subordinates, that was a marker of being an authoritarian. And I wonder if that's part of what you're capturing that differentiates dark and light triad tendencies.
It could be. It could be, and I definitely think about that more. But I want to return to rethinking your really cool new construct, because it's really worthy of airing here and getting some air. So I took your test, and you have a think again quiz, and I my score was 50% scientist, 30% politician, 10% prosecutor, and 10% preacher, and I got 0% in the other category. Is it possible to get something in the other category?
Yeah, first of all, I haven't done systematic validation work on these items. I adapted them from some items in a few relevant literatures and then wrote a bunch of new ones myself. But it's really just designed as a fun way for people to reflect on their own styles and when they might be more likely to slip into preaching or prosecuting or politicking versus science. But yeah, there are some red herring items in there. Like if you said that you wanted avocado toast, I
Well,
didn't have a category for that.
so I was on the fence about that one, but decided I chose the other option. Be curious about what I don't know. But yeah, start.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
let's talk about your scores for a
yeah.
second. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. I was just gonna mention some other of the. I was on the fence about some of your funny ones because I was like, oh, but I do like that. But I was like, no. But I was like, come on, Scott, focus. You wanna really know what your scores. But no. Yeah, let's talk. What were you gonna say?
No, so I'm surprised that your scientist score wasn't higher
I'm surprised
because
too.
you're so passionate about thinking scientifically in almost every part of your life, to my knowledge. That could be an indictment of my items being flawed. I wonder also though. It's interesting that politician is your next highest
Yeah.
because you've talked about how agreeable you are and how historically it's been extremely important to you to be liked.
Mm.
And I wonder if that's if we're picking that up a little bit in your politician score, that there are situations where you might you might adjust what you claim your opinion to be in order to fit in with the group around you.
That's really interesting. I saw the politician 30% score as my interest in like public science outreach and persuading people of the importance of
Oh.
this kind of stuff. But you did hit on something that I'm working through with my therapist.
It sounds like I need the same therapist, so tell me more.
So you did hit on something there, Adam. But no. I think there could be some truth to that. But I've really tried to work on the the integrity thing as much as possible, in my life. And so that it does raise an interesting question. What's the relationship between integrity and can you have a 30% politician score and still have integrity? Isn't that an interesting question? Like, can you be a good politician? I think it's a relevant question to the moment we're seeing, right? Like, can you be like I get the sense, and I was talking to some senator. I was in this like inaugural virtual ball last night with like senators, and like and actors, and so it was the strangest thing. But anyway, and they were talking and they were saying how like they're like, well, we've known Joe Biden for years and years, and regardless of the politics, we disagree. There were some Republicans, I think there might have been some Republicans. Regardless of the politics, he's a man of integrity. He's a man. He's a really kind, caring, like authentically. Yet at the same time, in order to do the work he has to do right now to unite America, he has to at least be 30% in your test, right? On the. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, how can you balance those two things?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very timely question. I'm not sure if I have a simple answer to it, but I think one of the things I've been thinking about lately I guess on this dimension is it's almost impossible to be true to all the parts of your character at the same time, right? Because we're so complex and multidimensional. And I wonder if part of what it means to be a politician who acts with integrity is being true to your core values while being false to your personality from time to
Oh,
time.
wow.
So I look at Joe Biden's an interesting example. I don't know his big five personality
Mhm.
traits. I do know that he overcame a stutter and that he's described, whether it was because of the stutter or just a compounding factor for the stutter, being very shy at first, right? And he's had to overcome that. I assume in service of his values of both advancing his own political career and also trying to promote the common good the way that he sees it as a politician. And I think there's some clear integrity in doing that. You could say he's being very authentic to some values that are important to him. There are probably moments where he feels extremely inauthentic. Right? I can't imagine that every single time he gets on stage, he thinks, yes, this is me. This is who I was born to be. The same way that a George W. Bush or a Bill Clinton probably did.